Hello there, and welcome to the Bionicle Inspiration Series. Today, I want to take a few notes from the previous round of the Bio Cup and use some of those MOCs to make this specific theme. It's time to have the birds and beasts conversation. I'm going to focus on some of my favorites that were entered into the preliminary round of the Bio Cup. The theme, of course, was nature, but all of these are still sort of beasts or birds of some sort. And I thought it would make for a cool theme because some of these MOCs are very, very nice indeed. So wanted to talk about them real quick here. And of course, I'll get to the kaiju stuff for the next round of Bio Cup. Possibly, we'll see. I don't know, I'm kind of going loosey-goosey with the Bio Cup coverage. I have limited time this year, so I'm doing the best that I can, but we'll see what happens. Look, let's just dive right in. I mean, of course, this is the show where we spotlight Bionicle MOCs from across the community, and if there's things like contests or collabs or whatever going on, we always do our best to spotlight that as much as we can. So if you've got a contest or collab or just some other cool MOCs you think you have that are out there in the community that you think would have a home on the Bionicle Inspiration Series, you can always submit them through the submission email. It's on your screen right now. Just include whatever you think's necessary, put it in the email, send it to me, and I'll try my best to put it in an episode. Anyway, that's it for now. Let's begin with the first MOC. This is called The Blooming Wolf by Vodov. The Blooming Wolf kind of sounds like an old English swear word. You blooming wolf. Ho. That's it for jokes today. That wasn't very good. Anyway, next, the MOC. So, I love this. I love the fact that it's a wolf with a bunch of flowers. I mean, a wolf itself, is certainly sort of nature-y enough. But I like the fact that either this wolf is like gonna kill you because it's got a sword in its mouth and it's this evil samurai death wolf, but it's also like, I love flowers so much. And it just puts them all over itself and it's like, I'm going to murder you, but I'm going to look really pretty when I do it. No, I love it. The pink and the black, I think, is also a beautiful kind of color contrast. There's little hints of lavender as well, isn't there? So a couple different shades of pink and stuff. I think the concept of a sword in a wolf's mouth sort of thing, look, it reminds me of Pokemon, of course. And I don't know, like playing Pokemon Sword and Shield, specifically Sword, I suppose, there was something really kind of like mystical and fitting for the idea of this sort of like very large and in charge looking mythical dog, which had sort of more mythic qualities to it, similar to the like many different tales that this creature has. And yeah, the fact that it has a sword in it and stuff, it kind of implies this sense of battle, of history, of war, and I don't know, maybe this creature that's kind of caught in the middle of it, or is sort of like a guardian of, nature of a realm or something. So I really like that. I like that there's sort of a kind of almost like folklore to this. I think that's really cool. I also like the fact that, yeah, of course he has the sword in his mouth, which by the way is from an Ninjago set, but this piece has come in a variety of different colors. Like it came in gold in Speeder Demon, that specific Hero Factory set. But there's also some swords sort of shoved in his back there, which, that must hurt. But like I said, that sort of implication of, in the past, this guy fought in many battles. He's sort of like like a creature sort of that's had to kind of, go through a lot of battles, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying. And so I like the fact that it's like, I still got these swords in my back. No one's taken them out of me yet. Come on, man. I think that's just a fun little detail and kind of makes sense. And yeah, again, adds to the story behind this. It's awesome. So yeah, obviously awesome storytelling, awesome colors. I also love the toes here as well. I don't know, they're just seems really realistic and fitting. It's a very simple design, but it just kind of gets the point across. I like it a lot. And also beautiful shaping all across this, like the sort of ribcage design with those Exoforce robot arm pieces, the tail kind of claw pieces used to sort of form a more sort of like rounded belly of sorts. Yes, this is very well shaped and it's just got a lot of good stuff going for it. Fantastic MOC. Let's move over to the next one now. This is by Zyotron, and this is What Forest Fires Are. So I like this because, again, it reminds me of Pokemon. There's a theme in this episode. It kind of reminds me of like Pyroar and stuff, kind of with the logic that they took, the mane of a lion and related it back to sort of the elemental power of that Pokemon. And, it made sense for fire type in that sense. But I like that it's essentially the same concept, but with leaves and jungle and that sort of thing. And yeah, I really like that idea. If you're building a sort of like elemental creature, or at least a creature that maybe dwells in a specific element or has power over that or something, can you like pick a part of that and somehow kind of tie it back to an elemental power of sorts? I don't know, I like that. I think it's just a clever idea, you know. It might be a bit more difficult to do it with water. I don't know if you'd have like a water main or something like that. But you know, I don't know. You pick out a specific part of it. You see it on Pokemon all the time. Like, you know, the tip of Charizard's tail has fire on it or something like that. You know, what little element of a pre-existing normal creature that exists in the real world can you change up in some fashion to look more fitting for that element? You know, I don't know. I think it's a cool idea. Plus, I think the hair very perfectly translates into sort of like a thorny kind of plant-like stem, or yeah, I think thorns is probably the best. It could just be leaves as well, I suppose. But yeah, it's just a perfect translation from hair into, you know, plant materially things. It's very, very, very fitting, I think. I love the head design too. There's just some lovely shaping going on with it, and there's a few more system pieces on it, but yeah, it's really cool to see their little like snout that he's got using those dots quarter tiles. It's a very fitting part used to sort of convey that of like the snout of a lion, and even just sort of like the sort of spiky ears, the teeth, his little goatee even. That's kind of cool. So it's very fitting. I love the asymmetry with this mock too. The fact that the back is sort of more like scorched and very much looks like, you know, because the front's a little bit more kind of buffed out. Like we see those Chewbacca printed tiles there that have a very sort of, it could be fur, but it could also be like tree bark. I think those pieces work perfectly for either scenario. So it's cool to see that having a bit more sort of like, yeah, bulk to it, but the burnt side being a lot more kind of like thin. So it's like that's literally burnt off sort of thing, and just you're just left with a sort of very minimal, almost sort of bone-like look almost. So I love that. I think that makes sense. It looks like it's been scorched sort of thing. So yeah, I love that idea for asymmetry, especially with the concept of this, that it's sort of like a forest fire in that sense. So it's a really, really clever concept there. It's awesome. So I love this mock. Let's move over to the next one. This is a really cool one by Calcifer Project. And this is Regal Ancestor Spirit. Yeah, I like this. I think the name is very fitting. There is something incredibly regal about this. And again, it seems to dip into that sort of like myth and folklore. And certainly seems like some sort of creature that would be like wandering the forest at like very late at night. And I don't know, you'd look at it and you'd be filled with this sort of like sense of wonder and awe. You know, it's a legendary Pokemon or some sort of mythical creature. It's fantastic. And I think a lot of that's conveyed with this color scheme here. The fact that it is just this stark black combined with this sort of beautiful pop of white on the head, which could also be sort of like a bone skull of sorts, you know. But again, you don't typically see that on a real creature, but it makes sense on some sort of more mythical creature of folklore, of legend, that sort of thing. And even the fact that it has like icicle, kind of like horn antler things. Now these do actually come on a couple different sets, specifically this Hero Factory set from Invasion from Below, but I think they also came on some like Chima sets as well, a few different things. They're beautiful pieces, and they're lovely in this color too. Of course, they come in other colors as well, like dark tan on Umarak the Hunter. He had some. But regardless, though, I think this beautiful translucent color, there is something that certainly seems very mythical about that. I don't know if it's specifically ice, like I said before, but yeah, it's just cool. It's really pretty. So yeah, I just think that beautiful combination of all those colors there certainly helps with that. Also, just sort of his incredibly, I don't know if this creature's a he, I shouldn't assume. I don't know, this specific creature here, the legs there, there's something very long and sort of, I don't know, kind of tall about it. I think, yeah, the fact that it's so kind of like large and in charge also kind of lends into that sort of beautiful myth and legend element, that it's like this impossibly tall creature with these beautiful, like translucent, almost like mystical antlers and this skull for a head. It's like, what? That combination of things shouldn't exist at all, but yet here it is, you know. So yeah, there's something very nice about so many beautiful combinations of different things that are just working so well in tandem there. It's awesome. I love too the shaping on the torso. We saw a similar technique before on the first mock there, using those robot, you know, Exoforce robot arm pieces there with the sort of like tail claw piece to form that sort of smooth body kind of texture there. It's a very, very, you know, simple, effective, beautiful technique to achieve very realistic shaping there. It's awesome to see it used on a couple different mocks and being used so very well. Even seeing some of these like furry pieces as well on the or sort of around the neck, I suppose. Those are beautiful pieces and just work perfectly here. And yeah, just an overall sort of lovely smoothness to this mock. It's very, very nice. Very nice indeed. On to the next mock now. This is by Matt Goldberg, and this is Chromatic Pheasant. I love this because it's using some, I guess, kind of harder to use pieces. I don't know, I've seen a couple people actually use them, but still, you don't really see people using these sort of like larger plastic elements, I guess is the word for it. Specifically these ones here. So these come from the Monkey King mech set, which is a brilliant set. And of course, it has these plastic kind of chrome pieces with this beautiful printing on them. And so it's lovely to see Matt use them here to give it this sort of brilliant sheen to it. I don't know. There's something about it that reminds me of like like a rainbow lorikeet, which is something we have here in Australia. This sort of bird with these brilliant, vibrant colors. It's really is quite fantastic. So I like the fact that it's sort of, I'm relating it to like my own experience because that's a bird that I see very often where I live, but like there's a lot of other birds out there that have beautiful, vibrant colors to it. So I love the fact that he's picked a very beautiful, vibrant piece and translated it into something that does actually exist, a concept that at least exists on multiple birds in the real world. So I love that. It's gorgeous. And those pieces work surprisingly well for the sort of feathers or wings or tail and stuff on a bird here. It's really, really cool. So yeah, I mean, that alone is quite a standout. I love the head design as well, using that sort of banana piece there to kind of round off the eye a little bit there. And even the two little itty bitty claws that form the little beak there on the bird here. That's fantastic. That's just a very clever way of doing a little tiny beak there. It's very, very appropriate. Again, a lot of beautiful colors being used here, like these Hero Factory shells on the torso, gold, blue, purple, and then a little bit of black up the top there. It's amazing how many colors are being used, but how effectively it works, because that's just so appropriate for this sort of concept. And the little stand that he's on as well, this little itty bitty little tree here with a little bit of grass underneath it. A lot of system pieces there sort of thing, but it just kind of rounds off the mock in a beautiful way. It's awesome. So an absolutely stunning mock with just exquisite colors and just a very, very brilliant shaping as well to mimic that of any kind of real bird. It's fantastic. Final mock now. This one is absolutely incredible. It's by Wormy World, and this is Avian Bonsai. I was speaking to a few different people, and we all sort of mutually agreed that this is possibly one of the best mocks we've seen this year, just in general, not even for BioCup, just in general. It's beautiful. The concept is awesome. I mean, just the life in this head design as this bird just sort of reaches over and goes to eat these little berries here. It's fantastic. The transition of the feathers into the tree coming out of the tail there, amazing. This is just such an exquisite mock. I did see on Instagram that it has a little bit of difficulty standing up on those two legs. It will topple over if you move it around a little bit too much, but it is what it is. Still, just such an exquisite mock, so lifelike, so full of life. It's beautiful. These feather pieces here, we kind of see them towards the back of the tail there. These were on a bunch of different Chima sets, specifically this one, because of course there's some here in that dark red color. And yeah, they appear in a variety of different colors and a variety of different Chima sets. Speaking of Chima sets as well, we have one of the sort of larger fur pieces in white here. As well as in dark red, actually, as well. These were seen as well on the set Chi Lavelle, or just Lavelle, I think. I forget the name sometimes, but the one I'm showing you now. Another fantastic piece. There are a lot of kind of like furry kind of pieces, or at least kind of furry in texture in that sense, in these Chima sets, and so they're perfect to get like this kind of feathered texture for birds and different things. So definitely look into some of those Chima sets. They were incredibly unique and incredibly cool. I love too this berry design, just some ball joints just sort of pieced together like that. Beautiful. It's so simple but works so well for a sort of little clump of berries here. The other little detail I love is, of course, there's a lot of different leaf pieces being used, and if you want to make Ben happy, you use leaf pieces. I always like foliage and trees and different stuff like that. But there's a relatively new leaf piece that's being used here, which is on the very sort of front berry that the bird is sort of trying to bite. I don't know if this is sort of like an unfortunate thing, like is that just out of reach and he's just going to be there for like ages trying to peck it and just can't, because it looks like it's a little out of reach, or maybe he can just lean forward a little bit. I don't know. But sorry, I got distracted there. The leaf piece on that sort of larger clump of berries near the mouth, that is a cloth piece from one of the most recent wave of collectible minifigure series minifigures. It's sort of like the cape that's used on the little acorn dude, little acorn warrior guy. He has a little cape that looks like a leaf like that. So that is a sort of more cloth cape piece. But it's lovely to see it being used as sort of a slightly larger leaf here. It's a very clever little part use. And there's just amazing part usages and amazing shaping all throughout this MOC here. This is absolutely fantastic, as were all the MOCs in this episode today. So I hope you very much enjoyed seeing all these MOCs. Like I said, if you want to submit some of your own, the email is at the start of the episode, so you can check that out, or it's in the description below. Also in the description below is my own social media, so if you want to check that out, that's the place to do so. There's also places like my Patreon if you want to have some additional bonus content, so consider checking that out if you're interested. And also in the description below is the links to all the MOCs you saw today, so if you want to check that out, be sure to do so. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you very much enjoyed. I'll see you in the next episode of the Bionicle Inspiration Series. Thank you, happy building, and bye for now.